All right, welcome back to part 2 on personality disorders. My name is Olivia Reynolds with Healing Hearts Trauma, and I'm a psychotherapist. By the way, I have to mention that every time because part of our ethical code is to always identify ourselves and our credentials. Because if we're speaking on topics that we're not trained in, you should not be speaking about them. So that's not me being grandiose. Speaking of narcissism, right? All right, so the other parts are, excuse me, interpersonally exploitative. Right? Takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own ends. Right? So you're using someone, exploit them in some way. Sometimes campaign smearing. So again, that goes on the side of whether we're talking about overts versus coverts, because they have slight difference. A lot of covert narcissists, interestingly, and I might have to make a part 3 of this, can be like your pastors, in the church, right? Religion can be abusive all the way together. Let's get into that in another topic, right? Because it's power, it's control. You got to behave and be a certain way, and you got to be godlike, right? That's pretty friggin' grandiose if you ask me. And religion alone can be very perplexing as where we fit in socially and culturally, because other people who are religion might look at me and think, oh my God, she's so bad and full of herself because she's out there, right? And be judging me, or because their religion has told them certain people should behave and act a certain way, right? It's very grandiose. It's very much a covert way of thinking. All right, so back to the actual criteria. Lacks empathy, is unwilling to recognize and identify their feelings and needs of others. Very selfish. And sometimes, again, that could be because we're trying to get our own needs met. Maybe we're not feeling heard or understood, so we're just hitting a wall and arguing, because if my needs aren't being met, I'm not going to meet your needs. It's 50-50, right? That doesn't mean that you're not hearing other people's needs and you lack empathy. They don't cry either. True born narcissists don't have any. Talk about like Ted Bundy, and that's the other thing. I studied serial killers for a long time, because before I became a therapist, I studied criminal justice, and I studied criminals. And so they really can look you right in the eyes and lie straight to your face, and they lack no emotional empathy. I once upon a time heard someone say like they wish someone that I dated prior would like die and keel over. And I was like, are you really serious? Yeah, I may not like that person. I've probably said terrible things about that person, but I loved that person at one point. And to ever wish somebody that you loved like ill will. Now, we say things when we're hurt, right? Personally, from me saying it, right? Because I've said some really nasty stuff when I was hurting. Hurt people, right? But someone else that didn't know and love that person is saying something so negative about someone. Questionable, red flag. We should look, right? And I'm saying like actual, like, not just like, hey, I don't like this person, but I'm talking like wishing them ill will, right? Because they have no empathy. They don't care. They didn't love the person, so they don't know. Let's see. Is often envious of others and believes that others are envious of him or her. Like, no, never, ever, ever apply it to yourself. Like, do you really think other people envy you? I don't think other people envy me. I think there's a lot of people that hate me, especially some people from my family, because I've made something of myself. So therefore, they think I'm some type of whatever because of that. But I don't ever judge other people because they have chose not to make themselves successful. It's a choice at the end of the day. I could sit at home and stay and be a single mom and living in a trailer park, and there's nothing against that. But I chose a different life for me. I wanted different things. I wanted to be successful in my own way. That doesn't mean that I look down upon people that choose that way, But I always think that you can better yourself. But maybe some people are okay with that. And that's where sometimes that caretaking and fawning role, see the other videos of where we want to like put them in our lives and try to help them and inspire to be better. Some people are just okay being average Joes, and that's okay, right? But they just might not fit in with somebody that wants to be more, right? They got to figure out where they want to be in life. Do I want to be more successful? Do I want to have finer things in lives and these experiences? And maybe not to the fullest level. I mean, we can like weigh out the balance of the two, right? Maybe some people are just practical, and that's fine. As long as you're not using them to obtain that, right? Or to get ahead, that's where this looks at. So again, there's 9 criteria. Here's the statistical information that these people are failing to put out there. Narcissism, all right? Here you go. From the actual factual APA, American Psychological Association. That means we have done a lot of stats and research on this stuff. Only 0 to 6.2% of the population has narcissistic personality disorder. There are trillions of people. And where are my stat nerds at? Come on. That is a very, very small number. If we put a little pie graph out there, it'd be like the slightest of the sliver, right? Not that many. Also, you got to look at the other differential diagnoses that are potentially, we talk about bipolar disorder already, right? You can confuse it with also people who are substance use. If they've suffered from substance use disorder, you got to make sure they've been sober long enough, or that their brain matter hasn't been changed from the years of substance abuse. Because let's face it, when we alter our brain, we're altering our personality, and so do TBI. So it's hard to really depict it, whether it's this or that. Mania or hypomania. People who have bipolar disorder, sometimes because of that grandiosity, people might see them. And let's just face it. I mean, I have a whole family slew of mental health issues. My father was bipolar, and I have lots of uncles I believe have bipolar disorder. And, I probably have periods of where I might be a little hypomanic because I have ADHD. And I could probably come off grandiose. I use myself because it's easier to reference me than other people. And I'm lived experience. As I said, when we spend years in school studying this stuff, you don't really get to see these diagnoses until you're out living it. When I worked for community behavioral health, it was the most fun of my life because I saw so many things. I've only saw a few schizoid personality disorders. I saw one. It was so sad. A patient of mine, so paranoid, and really in it. I've seen several schizophrenias. When I worked for mental health court, it was fun. And I don't say that in a weird way. It's fun for me because this is what I do. I'm such a nerd with this stuff. I love it. And it's actual. I can see it. I'm like, oh, that's it right there. You just don't see it as often. And I just hear all these labels and terms, and I just wish you guys would stop being hurtful to each other, because these are very stigmatized things. Mental health should be embraced and supported. If we truly suffer from these things, people shouldn't be hurting us because of it. People shouldn't be mean to me if I had bipolar disorder, only if I was out hurting people purposely and intentionally and mean to do it. If I have this, I need to treat it. I need to understand it. And people need to know that it's like being with an addict. There's a lot of risks that come involved. If you want to be with someone that's, chronically hypomanic or whatever and acts impulsively, you got some things to worry about potentially. Do you want to be with someone like that? So this is why the stigmatism of mental health is sad. It's like being with someone with depression, do you want to be with someone that's maybe potentially suicidal a lot or has bouts of periods where they just can't get out of bed? No, we embrace them. We love them. We try to help them. So this is why I want to spread awareness about mental health and to educate people, to stop labeling people because it's already stigmatized. All right. Here's the other part of this. Stats. Don't let me drop my book. I got 2 minutes left. See, this stuff's so hard because there's like 9 pages of this and you guys are Googling stuff. Stop. Talk to a therapist. Talk to someone that's been studying this, right? Not just making stuff up just to fit some agenda when your heart's broken because you probably met somebody that has trauma. 50 to 75% are males. But I've heard of so many females that are labeled narcissist. Most of us are trauma or borderline. And they actually attract narcissists. So if you think about this, in the world of theories, there are so many of them. And theories can be proven or unproven. None of these have ever been proven down to the word of God. Like this is actual and factual. And neither is he. So let's just face it. Anything can be challenged and or researched again and found there's new evidence that says this. Our field is very subjective, but I do know some things. We all are wounded. We've all been hurt. We've all met people in the wrong places in the wrong times that have exposed us to things that are terrible in life. And we really, really just need to learn to love each other, be kind to each other, understand each other, try to embrace the parts of ourselves that aren't perfect. Narcissism definitely has a lot of traits of other things. And just to know that not every relationship you've ever experienced is narcissistic abuse. It could be trauma, and it could be attachment issues, and 5,000 other different things going along with it. Just be mindful of the campaign smearing, because all you're doing is promoting more stigma and negativity. Thanks. Have a great day.